afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk with AFO. And as usual, I have my co-host Ife and Kester. And Taufik, we probably will eventually make Taufik co-host himself, right? The last episode we said we will bring Taufik back again for us to really see how we can support not just Nigerian youth in Nigerians, but we also should focus on how to support youths and Nigerians generally in the diaspora. Our conversation last week was centered around how to switch from whatever career you have now, into high-paying international and local tech jobs. And as usual, like we normally would do, we want to see things from different perspectives. We looked at the perspective of a typical Nigerian youth, and we also looked at, the reality of work, both Nigeria and of course international. So today, our focus is around Nigerians in the diaspora. Nigerians are scattered all over the world. Taufik he has a project around that now. And I really want us to talk about it because what Taufik is doing is really amazing. But to set the tone for today's conversation, right, I just want to share some very important facts, right, which I believe quite a number of people are familiar with already, okay? Firstly, for example, according to the World Bank, as of 2020, there were over 21 million Nigerians living in the diaspora. That's 2020. Now imagine what the numbers will be now, right? That's as of 2020. In the United States alone, we have about 1.5 million. When I say 1.5 are the documented, right? South Africa, is that correct? When we say 1.5, those are they have on record. That's the 1.5.
Yes.
Nigerians living in other countries, any country you want to talk about, any Africans that you see in the diaspora, Nigeria is, a large chunk of that population. South Africa,
1 out of 4.
United,
1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4, yeah.
1 out of 4. Can you imagine? The Nigerian diaspora is a highly educated group with many holding advanced degrees and professional qualifications. The Nigerian diaspora is a significant source of remittance to Nigeria, with World Bank estimating that Nigeria living abroad sent over $22 billion in remittance to the country. That's as of 2019. The Nigerian diaspora is also active in business and entrepreneurship, with many Nigerians abroad starting and running successful business in their host countries. The Nigerian diaspora is also active in the field of politics, with several Nigerians from diaspora holding elective offices. So many Nigerians are doing so well abroad, right? Today, we want to really shed light on those that are not doing so well, which is what this conversation is around. You still have Nigerians abroad working in factories, Nigerians abroad running Uber services and all of that. But yes, for them, it's still, to an extent, they are comfortable, right? But with what Taufik is doing, we believe the 20-something billion in remittance can increase to 40-something billion dollars if we really can get more people. Because if people are still stuck in what they know from Nigeria and they are not moving with the reality of the world now, there's no way their financial circumstance can change. And this is what Taufik has dedicated himself to in the last couple of months. And there are so many testimonies to this. And that's why I personally believe that the only way we can support this initiative as Nigerians is also we want Taufik to really share with us how he's doing this and what this entails. Taufik, you want to please tell us about this project that you've dedicated yourself to in the last couple of months?
Thank you, Afolabi. I really appreciate this opportunity. Kesta and my friend, Ife, nice to meet you. Sorry to see you again here. In 2019, right, I came on my usual visit, summer visit to US, and I was talking to a friend about, yes, it's been 10 years of running iCentral brand and 15 years of entrepreneurship. I've been thinking about, going global. What do we need to do? I visit this country a lot. What does it take to register a company in the US? There's something about the university that aligns with your thoughts, and they say what you focus on goes. So you need to, once you're deliberate about something, you just start saying, signs around it. So let me just paint a picture for you. There are 1,001 cars out there, different brands. But the moment you decide you want to buy a car and you narrow it down to Highlander, by default, it's only that car you start seeing on the road, right?
Yeah.
Consciously, that is what you see. Even though you don't know the brand, you don't know the name of any other car. Once you narrow it to that car, that is what you start seeing left, right, and center. So that's what happened to me. By the time, before I left US that time, I come in contact with this program called O1 Visa, which was for people with extraordinary ability and achievements that empowers tech entrepreneurs, business people to freely, come to US, do their businesses and all of that. So by the time I saw that requirement, I ran away. My friend gave me that requirement. I just felt like, no, what it takes to have this extraordinary achievement, I don't think I'm qualified. But there was a weekend. I came to the office like I usually do. I just locked myself up, turned on my phone, and I looked at every other thing that I've done in the past. I realized that, hey, this is actually possible. We pushed it, and the petition, we had to register iCentral in US, and the petition was done by my company, by my attorney from our company, and voila, boom. We had that opportunity to legally come and start business in the US. Then COVID struck. So we didn't start officially until last year, January, when I came around to see, okay, what are the opportunities there? We sometimes forget that every environment is unique in its own ways. What works in Nigeria may not necessarily work or will not work in the US. That's the honest truth. When Uber was coming to Nigeria, they had this idea of we're going to do, people were going to pay through card. But by the time they got to Nigeria, they realized that people still use cash. So they had to put on their app the option of cash. Okay, yeah. So you have to adjust to the reality of your market, because it's the market that actually determines what you sell. So marketing, like I learned in EDC, where myself and Afolabi met, is making what you can sell, not selling what you can make. When you sell what you can make, you are forcing, your capabilities on people. But when you make what you can sell, you're actually looking at what the market wants and you're tailoring your solution to the market. So by the time I got into US last year, we wanted to replicate the model that we had in US, in Nigeria. Having been successful, a little bit in what we do, do our consulting, our training. We realized that that's not what the market wants. And I did my market research, talking to friends and other people. And I realized that there are lots of Nigerians, Africans that are stuck in the warehouse. There are a lot of Nigerians that are stuck in care work. There are a lot of Nigerians that are stuck in what we call tarmac. Okay. And not that they don't want to move. Of course, there's always a stepping stone when you come into the US. US is actually big. Okay. And the first thing you want to do, because from the day you land, you have bills. to pay for your rent, unlike Nigeria where, oh, you just go and chill with one uncle for 1 year, he's paying the light bills, he's paying, it doesn't happen this way. All right. From the phone you make, the phone call, you can get a phone line in Nigeria and you choose when to recharge. No, here you have to be on contract. So your bill starts running every day and that keeps you working. So you need to find a way of generating income. So when you get into the system, if you don't have any source of livelihood, immediately you are forced to do some of these jobs. And like Afo said in his introduction, Nigerians are they are the most educated immigrant sets, from in the world. Sorry, in US. But when you come to US, you see the Indian community, you see the Chinese community, you see other communities, but you don't find a community for Africans. So, and those communities are built so that you can help other immigrants as they come in. Not everybody come in the way, I was privileged to come in from Nigeria. I already have my business set up. I already have a visa that allows me to run my business as an entrepreneur, and I'm recognized by the US as someone that has extraordinary abilities and all that. So the ground was set for me based on the work that I was doing. But some other people come on F1 visa, they come on, different kinds of visas, spousal visa, and to start, because they have to put food on the table, they wouldn't know where to start. And whatever you start working on, you may get stuck. So what we realize is that a lot of Africans or Nigerians are stuck. So the first thing is speaking to friends. They made me realize that this model of your business that has worked in Nigeria may not work here. Your competitors are even multinationals that are, they are ready to kill you with a wimp of, so we face that reality. Of course, as a business person, you need to strategize. And we now looked at from the point of how do we even help this community. So we started, building our model of something called Career Transition Bootcamp, CBT. CTB. This CTB is a bootcamp that gives people that want to transition from there, because these guys are already, they were bankers, they worked in Shell. You'll be surprised, the number of, the quality of Nigerians that you have here. Even the US has to, they have to really, really, recognize our status. And when Nigerians come here, they don't just come and just fast. Some even go as far as doing PhD, like Afo. Okay, Sensei, I agree to sir. So, but unlike some other groups, they are just skilled and they just bring themselves in through H1B visa, highly skilled people and all of that. And because they have also come together, they've built companies of their own. So, they are springboards for other Africans. So what we have done is we realized that we've built a company here. So we can actually get people engaged. But do we have that strength yet? No. The kind of people we want to engage, can we build them? Can we help them transition first? So we've been training Nigerians, helping them to transit from where they are into skills like project management, Scrum and Agile, business analysis, and cybersecurity. These four is the area we are focused on, which for us, they are the low-hanging fruits. So when we bring these guys, the first step is we give them, they sign up for free. We have an information session for them to even understand, the industry and all of that, what is possible. Then we do an assessment, personal assessment of their professional assessment for them. So this can be your track, from where you're coming from. If you are more of a documentation person, hey, you should go into business analysis. If you are more of a very detailed, someone that has OCD like me, maybe you should start thinking in the line of project management, agile, and Scrum. If you are, of course, you also still do a lot of documentation there. If you are someone that you are hands-on and you want to really, really do IT, then you can do cybersecurity, or you have flair for things that have to do with computer or the internet. So after these assessments, we'll now introduce them to their boot camps. This boot camp is for a period of 1 month, okay? And it happens on weekends, 2 days of the weekend. So they do their boot camp. At the end of their boot camp, what we have done is we give them the option of certification if they want to. So at this stage, it's not the certification that really matters. It's about knowing what the job requires, having the right skill. So they go through a simulation project. After their simulation project, we now need to now look at their CV that they've submitted. Now that you have these skills, now let's update your CV. We do the CV, it looks good, give them all the resources, the platforms where they can apply for jobs. They start applying for the jobs. And when they get the jobs, then it's time to do some interview prep. And once they get the job, our job has just started, because we still have to put them in a committee where they serve as, buffers and mentors to other people. So that community keep going. And like I said, it's about giving back. We give to you, you give back, the next person passes on the torch until we're able to build a community strong enough, to rival the other ethnic or races in US. And the community that we build from, is it 200 billion?
So Taufik, let me
right now.
Yeah, $21 billion. $21
billion.
That's as a 20.
How can we move it to 200 billion? How can we move it to 200 billion?
Yeah, that's which is why I find what you're doing very interesting, right? If you remember in one of our conversations when we started talking about this, right? And it was more around the power of information, right? Information that you have access to. And before now, I think to an extent, maybe the Nigerian mindset and way of life in us, when we get to diaspora, we don't embrace ourselves, right? We don't look out for one another, right? And that's why I really find what you are doing very interesting. We need to bring our community together, right? Anywhere we find ourselves. Nigerians in the diaspora, right? You mentioned the Indian community, you mentioned the Chinese village and all of that. The logistic company that will support your business as a Chinese man, you will get it in Chinese village, right? If you have Indians, for example, now you talk about, most of all these tech jobs that you find in Silicon Valley today, the Indians will do everything humanly possible to ensure that who gets the job are also Indians like them, right? And they get them prepared with the right information. For some weird reason, from my own little observation, right, when people, when they get into the system, the first thing that are thrown out to you are things that doesn't really match your status or whatever experience you are coming with, right? And that's what you're trying to change. And that I find very interesting. Okay, so I want to start by asking, right? Yes, skills acquisition is one of the things you're doing, but there's also something you are doing that I think you also I would like you to shed the light on. Okay, is that people don't sometimes understand the value of what they have, what you have as a Nigerian, the skills you've acquired, the body of work, like things you've done, and how valuable those things are, right? And that's why they hold back, not open to advice where they can find it, right? Changing status is the first thing that you have to be mindful of, right? You find yourself in the system now. you obviously would need some legal guidance on how to be properly integrated in terms of the status and have the requisite skills to do whatever you want to do, because you can't even talk about skills, acquire any skills if whatever skills you have, you can't put it to work. So you need to be guided, right? And that's why you see people hiding, going from state to state simply because they don't even have an idea of how to, legitimately change their status. For someone like me, I'm a serial entrepreneur, right? I have, businesses that are doing well in Nigeria, right? And, I just wanted to challenge myself, and I started, a PhD in information technology, right? On an F1 visa. When I'm here in US, I'm here because of my education, and I'm back to run my business in Nigeria. And now I want to explain to you guys why I call Taufik Adumbari Matoshi, right? This is one serial entrepreneur Nigerian in US. Most time, the maximum number of weeks I'll be in US will probably be like 4 weeks and 6 weeks. I'm back with my F1 visa, right? Because I have a business to run. So I met Taufik last year, right? Till end of 2022. And we got talking, and he said, Afo, yes, you don't need it, but with your body of work, you actually can, be an American resident. And being an American resident means that apart from the fact that you're running business in Nigeria, it means you also can set up another business in US, right? And use that to balance the challenge with US dollars, meaning you also can make money in dollars. I said, He said, I said, Taufik, tell me about it. He said, wait, calm down. And the minute I hear money, there's a way my
your temperature rises.
there's this boiling. I said, okay, so Taufik, he said, calm down. I said, the way we know green card and all of that, it takes a long process and all of that. He said, calm down. The first thing you need to do is to speak to someone that understands the system, right? You have to be guided, right? And so Taufik introduced me to an immigration lawyer, right? We booked a Zoom session. I presented, I said, I run a PhD, blah, 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 and all of that. And the lawyer said, calm down, that's not what you need. What have you done in Nigeria? Can we talk about you? Can we talk about what you're doing in Nigeria and all of that? And the minute people ask me what I do in Nigeria, it's like you want to change a 30-minute session to 3 hours.
You start
26 million naira debt at the age of 26 in 2006. How Stanford recognized me. How Harvard introduced me. Credit Suisse. 40 exactly. So when I started that conversation with her, and she said, with the information you've just shared now, this is what you need. You have something that is valuable that will be the basis of your evaluation. I really never saw value. That what I represent has much value until this conversation started. Then she said she's going to share some information with me to see if I have things that would match all of that. I meant the lawyer now, right? Now, when they gave me the long list of things I need to put together, I called Taufik again. I said, Taufik, why to Amo Mishiribai? Because Cambridge, you asked me to go and get all manner of things. What you did for president, what you did for this and all of that. I don't have all this. So I just gave up the whole idea of, let me just focus on what I'm doing on Nigeria. Then one Saturday like that, I just picked that requirement again. I looked at it and I said, wait a second. Okay, patent for terms. Okay, Nigerian Telecoms Award. Okay, Stanford recognition. Okay, Obama invite. Oh, so I was reflecting on different things that connect to the requirements. So that took me another 2 months to put all of this together because I needed to get recommendation letter and all of that, from people that I've worked with. And that takes us back to our last episode, guys. Remember, last episode, Taufik was particular about service, right?
Yes.
Some of the things that was the basis of my appraisal was even CSR initiative, like borehole for communities. I mean, mosque engagement, things that you do for church are things that would in future add value. Techtalk-With-AFO are things that will be a point of reference for you in future. So we put all that documentation together, and the lawyer says she's not going to make any submission if she's not convinced that she will get approval. Now you would know why I called Taufik Adumbari Matoshi, right? I put in the lawyer submitted my petition on the 4th of January, right? I mean, I was just doing this for the fun of it, right? And on the 9th of January, I got an email from the lawyer that my petition has been approved. You see why I called Taufik Adumbari Matoshi? That the petition has been approved. I looked at it, I said to myself, okay, sometimes you don't even know the value of what you have. Right? You don't know the value of what you have until you get a third-party validation, right? And that's why I told Taufik, I said, Taufik, what you're doing, I would proudly say that I'm one of those Taufik was referring to when he said that what is working in Nigeria might not be what iCentral would be in America, right? You need to help the Nigerian community in the diaspora. This is a God calling, right? And I really want you to take this very serious, and every time he works on it, he will push it to me and say, Afo, this is what I've taught again. And interestingly, even before the boot camp got launched formally, you need to see how people have shown interest and they are willing to get involved as quickly as they can. So before Taufik moves on to tell us more about CTB, I know Ife, Kester, they want to know more about CTB. What exactly does it entail and all of that? Ife, are you going to go with the question first?
Yeah, so it's one thing is that I haven't been to abroad before, and one question I always want to ask.
Now that you know Taufik, you are coming to don't worry, continue.
So one question I've always that has been bugging my mind is how do Nigerians, like, how do we maintain this sense of belonging? You get to US or UK and you know that these are countries that are tagged with this no culture, like we see them as countries that don't have culture. And me coming from Nigeria, there are some things I have to like adhere to as regards my culture. So, and my own fear is when I get there, I still want to maintain
your culture.
And also, how do I maintain this sense of belonging in abroad? So I'd really like to get an answer to
that. Thank you, Ife. It's very easy to get along.
Before you answer, I would like you to combine Ife's question with another question from Kester so we can answer both together.
Okay.
Kester, can you shoot your own question?
Yes. So I've always had this impression that Nigerians this is one thing we've established here already, that Nigerians in the US, they are always exceptional. Yeah. So following that, I've always had the impression that the hustle and struggle that Nigeria would put you through, Lagos in particular, right, would put you through when you make your way to a country like the US. There is no way you wouldn't, in due time, maybe a couple years, maybe a couple months, right? There's no way you wouldn't break out and be something. And what padded this idea of what gave it solid foundation is the fact that if you check, in several industries, especially movie industries and other, and you check the Black people that are not Americans there, the successful ones, like the really successful ones, you'll find that a lot of times they are usually Nigerians. They are from Nigeria, even in UK, even in the music and all of that. So it just solidified this idea I had that, go through Lagos for 20 years, 25 years, and move, no way you are going to do. But now, hearing from you, Mr. Tafi, that there is a huge number of people or percentage of Nigerians over there that, when they get there, they end up in the garage working for this and that, caregiver, all those basic and small time jobs, right? That it gives the impression like you are stuck, as to use your word. So now I began to reflect while you were talking, and I started thinking again that my idea or my impression before had just been, limited to the popular people and all of that, that in reality, that's not actually how it is, right? So you have to go through. So now, for me now, for example, because I'm also subscribed to the idea of Jack, because I know some people aren't, but I am. So my laid out, not so laid out, but laid out plan for this Jackpot, right, involves several things, but in not to go into too much details, with the plan I had in mind, I was seeing myself assuming a position of, proper comfort, right, in 6 months to 1 year. So my question is, for someone like me, myself, it's my profile and maybe with a little more, right, that decides to go to the US and to hustle, right, to make a little living, how can that kind of person like me, or how can I, right, go about my process? And this obviously this iCentral and the whole thing is about it's like an answer, right? But somehow I would like to hear a bit down step by step process, right, as to how you can go about this and not fumble or not fall down on your feet or be deported back to Nigeria. So that's my question, sir.
Thank you very much, Ife Kester. I will start with Ife, and I'll link it. Sorry, Kester, and I'll link it to the last conversation by AFO. What is most important is when you're relocating. So a place like US that I know, it's status. Everything is about status. What status do you have? And it's a defining factor, right? That is what keeps you in the trenches for so long. And that is what also keeps you in the corporate for as long as you want. And that is what can also take you to prison. All right? That is your status in US. Unlike some other countries that you can get in and do whatever you like Nigeria. From the day you come into US, you are tracked. Everything about you is known. All right. And there are some things that you cannot do. Nobody's going to, deport you if you don't get into crime. But what pushes you into crime is a lack of that right status to attract the right opportunity. Because from the day you come in, you step your foot into this country. If you are not on holiday, you start running bills. And because you have to pay bills, you have to find a means of livelihood. Don't forget, the first law of human nature is self-preservation, which is survival. You need to find how you survive. And unlike what we've been made to believe that once you just get into US or just get into UK, everything is there. Food is not a problem. Everything is okay. It's not. So that's the greatest lie anybody can tell you. You will pay for every single thing, even though there are missions and all of those things. Even before the missions will start attending to you, they want to know your status. That is the first thing. If you don't have status, you cannot get driver's license. In a state like Texas, that is as big as the whole of Nigeria, you cannot survive without a car. So how do you drive? You cannot work. So probably you're using somebody's status to work and it puts a frustration on you. So everything frustrates you and you start looking for the easy way out or a way out. There's no easy way out anyway. The way out, maybe you start looking for arranging marriage and all of that. And all of those also still cost you money, cost you sleepless nights. And that's how people get into drug peddling. They get into all sort of problems. So status is the first thing you need to worry about when you're coming into this place. I've seen a lot of people say, hey, I want to have a B1, B2 visa and we'll disappear from there. I wish you all the best. Because with B1, B2 visa, you are as good as an illegal, immigrants because your thumbprint everywhere. It's until you make any move that you get arrested by the police or anything and you find your way back into Nigeria. So that brings me to what Afo has said about his own journey, which I can relate to. Of course, most of us, especially entrepreneurs, tech people, we've done things in our career that Nigeria has not appreciated. But those things are a big deal here because to get into the papers, to get on the TV, to do all those things that we have done, and this is still laying credence with what Kesa said, the hustle in Lagos is real. People have done some unimaginable things. They made some achievements that the system does not recognize. It just says, oh, you see yourself in the paper, you just cut it out and you keep it somewhere. But here is a big deal that you are on, on Forbes News, you are on this, you are on that. All of those things, they count for something. And the visas that people understand in US is just little. If you look at the plethora of visa, it is so humongous that provides opportunity for someone like Ife that, beyond the B1, B2 visa and marriage. And it depends on who you're speaking to because most people don't even know because they came into the country illegally. So the only thing they will tell you is, there's one job in warehouse, so there's one job as a security too, because that is all they know. For example, if I tell somebody that I was on O1 visa, they will ask me what was O1 visa, or I'm on EB1 now, which is a residence and green card. Like, how did you do that? People have been here for, 10 donkey years and they don't even have green card except they want to go and marry an Akata. So you need to choose your path. You need to have the right information, okay? So that when you get into the country, you are not out of status. And once you have the right status, and that brings me to Ife about culture and cultural conflicts. You can easily, when you get into to US, you can easily lose yourself. I think I get lost. Your identity can get lost. So you need to be very conscious about who you are, because that is actually your selling point. If Burna Boy, Whiskey, Thames, and the rest of them wanted to be like Americans, they won't be anywhere today because you can't do it more than the Black Americans will do. So what stands you out? And that is one thing the Indians and all the Asians, they have come to realize that their uniqueness is their culture, their identity. And they don't try to sound like any other person. Once you hear the Indian, you know that this is an Indian. Okay, they all sound alike. But one thing you know them for is their professionalism, is their skills, and they have taken over the IT industry. So what we're also trying to do with Career Central, which is what we have launched in iCentral. So now, like I said, we didn't have Career Central in Nigeria, but because we got to US and we realized that the need of US is different, we have created a different product for US. Even though we're registered as iCentral Solutions LLC here, but the products we have created for the market for career transition program is Career Central, where we help individuals to translate into in their career to high-paying jobs. And when they do that, and also give them the opportunity of getting certified, also doing all the, the post-training job readiness for them at Career Central. So for the community that we're building, this is like a goal for us. And just like the testimony that Apple shared, for me, it's all about getting the right information, sharing with the right people, and for making one person's life, better one day at a time. And the more we try together, the better we are as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Taufik. So again, just to really speak to the audience that we're trying to engage in directly, right? The transition you're trying to put together for people is a transition that is getting them into a space that they have no idea about, right? You mentioned IT auditing, you mentioned Scrum Master, you mentioned business analyst, you mentioned cybersecurity, as one of the areas that you want people to specialize into, right? And this is me. I'm a banker, right? Banking is all I've known from Nigeria, right? I'm stuck in US because I don't even know how I can get into the banking space, right? Because it's a total different
it's a different way of banking.
Exactly, right? And for some reason, this is another personality now. I'm a nurse, a career nurse. I'm tired of being running a nursing what's it called, service, right? And we have different type of profiles like this. Okay, how easy is this transition for me? Yes, I heard about you talking about the 1 month boot camp and all of that. Are you saying that you're going to get me to that point that I would be speaking to a recruiter, I'll be having an interview session, and I'll get the job? In fact, confidence is my first concern here, right? Someone throwing questions at me. How easy is that going to be for me, right? The reason why I'm on the tarmac, right, using different personality here, is because I've looked at all the options and I just don't see it working for me. I've spotted the issue of status, right? Okay, but the questions that will be asked, the experience that will be required, what exactly is this boot camp going to do, right? Are you just looking at getting money from me for 1 month, and after that training, you give me some certifications? Because what matters at the end of the day for me is to get the job. You want to speak to that?
Thank you, Afo. And that is a very, very important question. You would realize that when you get to www.careercentral.com, the first thing you see our certification training, which I don't have any guarantee for you. I don't have any commitment to you for you getting a job after your certification. You know what you want. You go, like I said, there's always a difference between certificate and certification, right? Your certification is to certify your experience. So you're just coming there for somebody to prepare you for your certification exam, being authorized partner to PECB, being authorized partner, premier partner to PMI. By default, PMI refers people to us. Okay, if you're in Nigeria, you go to learning.icentral.com. If you're in US, you do Career Central. But this particular career transition bootcamp is an intervention program where we won't even take you on after your assessment. Okay, you don't pay a dime to first of all sign up. No dime. You come to information session to say, this is what you are educated. You have the right information. It is for you to start to decide at that moment that I think this is me. This is what I can do. These skills aligns with me. Oh, this is too much for me. I don't see myself here. So once we have that common understanding, you can back out. No money exchanged. No money exchanged. All right? But when you've done your assessment and you see yourself and you say, this is me, the next stage is you sign up for the classes. So all through that session, we're not preparing you for exams. So it's different. You're going to have people that worked in the industry in US to train you. So these resources are not some remote resources.
Sorry for for cutting in. I think that is the part I would like you to emphasize. Remember last year, you invited me to a particular function, right?
Yeah.
And at that event, for starters, the host of the event, the property was on I think 3 acres or thereabout.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was a conversation around investing in tech in Nigeria, but trust me, the 2 or 3 hours that we spent on that property, my end was just going around and around, right? This is one guy, just another Nigerian, right? Which so many Nigerians.
A guy that used to work for us, that used to be our junior in Nigeria. That used to work for an organization that we partnered with.
In Nigeria,
so
right?
it just is relatable, right?
He has his own fish pond.
It's barely 40.
He's barely 40 and all of that.
Yeah.
So but my point is, I want you to really emphasize the fact that the mentors, people that are working with iCentral on this CTB, are people that that really want to do it, not because they want anything. They are well-to-do people already, right? Doing so well in different industry. You have some of them as Salesforce experts, anti-money laundering experts, Amazon, Citibank.
Just name it.
They want to sit you down and prep you and say, these are the questions they will ask.
This is the industry. And remember,
is the industry. Yeah.
This is one thing I said to you, that the kind of people, the kind of community, the difference for both of us is the community we find ourselves in. Exactly. And because it's a documented society, it's not an informal society. Everything has a track. You only know what is on your track. It's just like trains, Amtrak trains. They're about 10 lanes. You'll be going on your track. people don't know what happens in the O1 space. People don't know what happens in the F1 space. People don't know what happens in the EB1 space. Other people don't know what happens in the HB1 space.
The same way
Unless
some
you
people don't know
have-
what happens on the tarmac space.
They don't until they have the experience. Okay?
Of being on the
And
tarmac.
it is not something that you come and say, I want to come and wing it. And that
No
is
way.
why the faculty for the certification training is different. The faculty for the career transition are people that are working in the industry, different industries in US. So it gives you confidence that this guy is a senior vice president in Citibank. This guy is a senior vice president or is a manager in Amazon. This guy is a project manager or a scrum master in how do I call it? KPMG. So you're having industry people that are going to be part of your session that are telling you this is doable. That confidence is going to come from the interaction you have with the people, okay? And not only what you've been taught, because by the time you get in there, it is a different ball game. The way we interview in Nigeria is quite different. The reference you will get and the kind of way you'll be able to package yourself is actually totally different.
When is the first session starting?
Starting in February.
In February.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taking so long because we had to design and redesign and be sure that, you know, the training, the career central training is already starting, okay, for the certification track. But this is what we are actually doing as, you know, is an intervention for us. You know, when you get into an environment, being an entrepreneur, you first of all look for the problems. Okay, you are not bringing what you are selling to the society. No, what is the problem that these people have? You now need to design your offering. We're not doing this in Nigeria, right? We don't offer it in Nigeria. Okay, but people in Nigeria can sign up to it because they want to see how things work, just like you first said earlier, in the abroad. Okay, yes, so they are preparing ahead of the abroad. Okay, but it is designed for this market and people that want to migrate from our market to this market. Okay, so it is for you to have on the spot industry connection of town to gown. I keep using that word, right? You need to connect the reality of your work to the reality of the workspace. Until those two come together, you know, there's no success.
Good. So again, I still would like you to because what we are doing now, this content, it has to get to the hands of those that needs it, right? And that's why we really need to be more detailed about what this entail. Because in fact, we might have to go to different tarmac together, you know, to speak to the target audience that needs it. Okay, the more people have the information, the better, right? So before we move to you shedding more light to it, when it starts, when it ends, and you know, the caliber of the faculty that will be working with you on this project, I'd like to go into, as usual, our tech news, right? Just for people to have a sense of what the industry looks like, right? Last week we talked about AI, and I also have an interesting news that is also AI related, like AI and machine learning, robotics, process automation. That's another big thing now. RPA is another technology that is automating jobs like we've never, like what we've never seen before. RPA is use of software to automate business processes, such as interpreting application, processing transaction, dealing with data, and even replying to emails. RPA automates repetitive tasks that people used to do. when I see technologies like this, I mean, it really is a major concern for my folks on the tarmac, my folks
Look
at the warehouse.
how Tesla is doing.
Yeah.
Autonomous like the self-driving car that Tesla is currently working on. So imagine
Forrester Research estimates that RPA automation will threaten the livelihood of 230 million people, or more knowledge workers, or approximately 9% of the global workforce. RPA is also creating new jobs while altering existing. So what I love about technology is the same way you kick some people out of business, you are creating opportunity for new ones. So the smart ones amongst us, you are very quick, Nigerian sharp sense, to identify where the trend is going and quickly position yourself before you are left behind, right? And Tech Talk, we don't want to leave anybody behind. That's very important. We want people to have information to know how to move forward. So for you as an IT professional looking for the future and trying to understand latest technology trends, RPA offers plenty of career opportunities. So many opportunities. RPA developers are needed. RPA analysts are needed. RPA architects are needed. Ife and Kester, which RPAs are you guys? Over to you.
So I was having a conversation with some of my friends some weeks ago, right? And hearing this now, these fake news, just bring back memories, right? We were arguing and we were talking about the kind of jobs that can be automated and how soon, right? And we even went as far as Googling these things and seeing the possibility, like, so we found that the kind of jobs that is less likely to be automated by AI and all of that. It's jobs like therapists, like as a therapist, right? It's not very easy to automate that action, right? Even teaching to an extent, some level of teaching and all of that. So at the end of the day, we saw that let me go local now in my slang. Last, with enough time, almost everything can be automated. And yes, this provides job opportunities. Wonderful. This provides job opportunities for some set of people, or for people generally that will choose to start training themselves along those lines, right? Yeah. But comparing it to the number of jobs that it takes away, right, from the people, like we saw that number, 230 million or so. Like comparing it to the number of jobs that it will take, because especially those repetitive work that simple-minded people have, like I was watching a class, right, by Jordan Peterson. I'll be brief. He was explaining hierarchy of your IQ, right, and the type of jobs you can take. So there is a huge percentage of individuals today, right, that they fall below the average, from average and below in terms of IQ, right? And there is nothing, and we all know that from age 25, you start to downgrade in your IQ level, right? We all know that there's nothing we can do about these people. They need jobs. They need to have jobs, right? And these are those simple, repetitive work are the kind of work that their mind, their brain can comprehend and do, right? Now, for those set of people, do we now have to force them to become smarter and start to migrate into the whole tech thing? It's not possible.
Taufik wants to jump in, right? He had his hands raised up, right? I think there's something he wants to speak to. Taufik.
Well, I just want to corroborate something that Kester said and just give it clarity. Our IQ does not downgrade; it peaks, as in it reaches its peak at 25.
25, yes.
It reaches the peak. That means at 25, you cannot add anything to your IQ.
That's what
It is what you have is what you have.
Yes.
It's what you have.
You
So
can
at
now start
44
developing.
At 44, I cannot add anything again.
You cannot add anything to your IQ. You can add to your knowledge, but the way you are reasoning at 25 it has already peaked. Okay, your intellectual quotient has peaked at 25. It has reached its peak.
Yes.
And that is why some organizations will say, you remember in the banking industry that this person must be less than the age of 25. And we're saying they were segregating. That was the thinking that these guys, that was the thinking that I cannot increase, I cannot shape this guy anymore in terms of his intellectual quotient. And I've also said to my own,
the rate at which, the challenge right now has changed that they are whatever in banking sector. Now they need people like mad.
Yeah, but when you have luxury, okay, you work all these models and think, oh, you want the best of the best guys. You know, the IT companies used to go to UK. Sorry, I said the banking industry and the telecoms at that point in time, they used to go to the to UK, US to come and recruit people and bring them back home because almost everybody wants to come back home, right? But if they have the right job. But how much was dollar then? It was 150, 120, 180 maximum to a naira, and you were earning as much as you could earn in UK. But nobody can pay that salary anymore. Okay, somebody cannot be earning, $250,000 here, which is equivalent of say, you're talking about around $20,000 in a month. Okay, let's even say government will take about 30% of it. It still comes to about $15,000 in a month. Okay, you want to take that person to Nigeria to earn how much in a month? So you can look at and the quality of life and all of that. So they have to make do with the people that they have. In the days of gone are the days of it has to be first class. Now they are settling from first class to 2-1 now to 2-2. So, and it also shows the falling standard of everything. So because we're supposed to be increasing in standard, when I did my my JAM, the first one I scored 199, it was a poor score. The second one I scored 245. It was okay. But now the score for JAM over 400 now, average is 150. How do I explain that?
Average is 150.
It's 150. 150 over 400. How do you explain that?
Ife should explain to us. Ife,
are we getting smarter or we are getting dumber?
No, I think in terms of evolution, we are getting smarter actually. So the only thing is that some people will just have to. There's something in biology. It's called survival of the fittest. So when and now we are seeing the advent of new technology, and evolution is at play here again. So at this age, evolution is at play at this age again. And the only
remember, Ife is a scientist, so let's listen. Yes.
So the only thing is that some people are obviously going to like slow down. Some people are going to like get the hand of how it works. So now we are moving towards like creating things actually and not managing things. So AI automation, I see it as a very good thing, like for humans, because it will let us like explore the depths of the depths of the world.
There is repercussion.
Yeah, the repercussion is that my own fear is that we get to a stage whereby there's this thing they call the great filter. So, last week, Afo, we were talking about the pyramid, and you were saying you don't know the architecture, you don't know the technology, you don't know how it's, you know how it works. So I think back then, probably the people then, the humans then, they tend to like stumble on some kind of technology that's actually wipe them out. So my fear now is that we are approaching that stage whereby we are creating, we are kind of trying to create a sentient being. So my fear is like training this AI. Look at ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT literally do everything for me.
ChatGPT has graduated from university.
Yeah,
yes.
So my
business
fear,
and law exam. He passed business and law exams.
So, I don't know if you've seen this movie, I, Robot, by Will Smith.
Yeah.
How here is how they became. Although we are not there yet, I'm sure we are not there yet. So what we are basically doing is I just teaching AI on how to access data.
But about the 150 jams, this is just my own conspiracy, right? And I'm going to openly say it. I actually think it is just a way to allow for more people to come in and just a way to make money, to make more money. That's what I think. Because how can we have more graduates from this country and less of quality as a graduate? It doesn't make sense. So there's no way that the government doesn't see this. Right. And I'm not even trying to be entitled now by calling government. I'm just saying they know these things, but yet what we have is still what we have. So I think it's just most likely a way to just make more money. That's speaking to the reduction of cutoff mark to 150 over 400, because it's absurd, honestly, if you ask me. So
I think jam fee is now, it's 40K.
And the jam fee goes up, right? So,
well, I think so. It still comes back to what Taufik has emphasized and what I've also been speaking to. As Nigerians, we have this very high sense of entitlement. We feel so entitled for everything, right? America, UK, or any other country you want to talk about today is what it is simply because some people made the sacrifice. It wasn't because they were entitled. Nobody looks up to government for anything, right? It also, because some people made the sacrifice, is the reason why they created a system that worked for them, right? As a Nigerian youth, if the country you meet today is a rundown country, that's your baby, you have to nurse it. What are you doing to make sure that you are not living the same type of country for the generation that is coming after you? Look at what Aliko Dangote is doing in the space of refining. Trust me, when you listen to some Nigerians, the way they criticize and condemn what he's doing, and I say to myself, he has done something about it in his own way. Remember the film about the men that built America, right? They all dominated their space at different levels. Just imagine if you have more of Aliko Dangote, the same way we have Aliko Dangote in cement, refinery, right? You also have people dominating other spaces like that. Just imagine the number of jobs that will be created. Someone was sharing the numbers, like what is going to come out of that refinery, right? From the quantity of refined product that will be going to not just Nigeria but the entire African countries, and what the countries stand to earn. So if you have more Nigerians, right, getting into this space, right, understanding that let's forget about the country. What are we doing to create jobs, to improve our lives, to dominate Africa and all of that? I just got to know that the richest man in the world now is not even an American again. He's an Indian, right? So imagine, and the primary source of his wealth is where? Is also in India, from what I heard, right? So that sense of entitlement has to just move away. The country, me and Taufik, the same generation, right? Born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s and 90s. I still remember light has always been an issue. It has always been bad roads. There's nothing the education has always been poor. My English teacher, I still remember, his name is Mr. Oridota. Oridiota, but I remember back then we call him Mr. Oridota. Okay. And it is simply because the quality of education growing up was bad. I went to a public school, right? But is that an excuse for me not to pursue my dream and see what I can do, right? But the same way it was difficult for me, that shouldn't be an excuse that the generation coming after me should go through the same challenge. But instead of feeling entitled all the time in all our conversation, let's focus on developing ourselves and get the JAM education is brought to 150. That shouldn't make your own standard to be 150.
Yes.
Right? You want to develop and move forward. Taufik, please wrap up this session for us with more emphasis on CTB, please.
Yeah, I think we basically said it all. And you've also alluded to the fact that the future that we need to create is not from government. We need to build Africa's future is in our hands. Africans need to find a solution for Africa. I call it ASAP, Africans solving Africa problem, whether in diaspora or in Africa. So we need to get to work. We need to do the work. So for career transition bootcamp, it's the training happens in 1 month, but the whole process takes about 2 months. And the community building part of it is the most interesting part of it, where you are in a community of very experienced people, not people talking from the book, the people with the American experience, and they're in the industry. So you're going to be in a group with the industry leaders that will point you in the right direction. Like I said, there's no monetary commitment for you to sign up, but to continue your journey, the value that you need to get, that is where the commitment happens. But if you don't feel that journey is for you, just like you don't pay anybody to go to the park, right?
Yeah.
To the train station, you don't pay anybody, you just drive yourself there.
Yeah.
But to pick the ticket is what you need to sign up to decide whether, this flight is going at so time, this train is going at so time, it's going to move. For you to join the moving train, that is where you take a decision. We're happy to have conversation with as many people as possible to help them in that decision making, but it's not a must to take decisions. So the first track, the first train will take off by the end of February. And like I said, it is for people in this market and people that are eyeing this market. So we're going to put out information to the AFO team, tech team by AFO, so that we can also have sessions with people that are in Nigeria, that are eyeing the opportunities in the US. So, but like I said, to get to that train station is not no commuter. There's no commuter session where you have that information session with you. I will help you to make up your mind. But to get on the train, you have to pick the ticket.
Okay, so one thing I would like to help you with, if that is okay, is that I think we need to organize a Zoom session where you would also have, some of these resources, the faculties that would be on the CTB, right? It's going to be a Zoom session like this, and I would also, like I mentioned, we have to really get on the tarmac and get to promote this with people on the tarmac, right? to be part of the Zoom session to have a sense of what this entails, right? So let's look at that before the end of February when the program launches properly. Ife, to find this information on Tech Talk with AFO, where can we get it?
So you can
Talk
reach
to
out
our
to
audience, please.
You can reach out to us on IG, Techtalk-With-AFO, and reach out to us on Twitter as AFO Karamsi, and subscribe to our videos on YouTube, Techtalk-With-AFO. And also make sure you go to Medium and check out our articles, Techtalk-With-AFO.
All right. So, Kesa, so we don't miss this out. This is very important. You forgot to talk about your freebies, but I want you to first wrap up with other tech facts. Then you talk about the freebies, then we wrap up the session.
Okay, so the tech facts. Here is one. NASA's internet speed. When I saw this, I was amazed. Their internet speed is 91 gigabytes per second.
I don't understand.
Like,
I don't understand. Not 10 MB. I mean, I don't get.
Oh no, not 10 MB. Not
so
10.
91 gig can. It means you probably can. You can transport an airplane through that wavelength.
Like it's so because
91 gig per second.
Per second, yeah. Just imagine what
you know. There's a space station. So sending information to the space station, and
they ought to
requires
they ought to have. Then it's still amazing because the average rate is 25 MB per second. That's where your internet is super fast.
Yeah.
Right. So now imagine 91 gig. So for another, 40% of American couples meet each other online. Well, I don't have a statistics for Nigerians, but and it makes
them
sense.
Statistics. So
February
14 is up close.
Wait, it actually makes sense that we have that large percentage of couples that meet online, because check the divorce rate. It's really, really, really went up. Because I don't there is also the case where you meet online and you build your relationship for years in person and all. So now there is also
I just feel arranged marriage is better than meeting online.
Arranged marriage by your parents, like this Indian.
If I agree with you, I agree with you too. Because garbage. No, if I agree, arrange marriage. Anyway, well, maybe
we'll
that would be
a
conversation. No. See, and I'm sure Taufik will agree with this, right? Look at the way things are in Africa, right? You meet your wife. It's probably because you met it through a family friend or it was a referral and all of that. Exactly. The families come together. The reason why separation and marriages seems to work better with this arrangement is simply because by the time you look at the number of people that you invited to your marriage, people involved and all of that. That's why divorce for this type for an arranged marriage. You can if you compare it to the rate at which people get divorced, you meet yourself on the street, you married at Las Vegas, just like that. So if you want to, who are you going to call to separate? Nobody now. The same way you met, the same way you separate.
Yes, let us go.
Anyways,
I think I'll do that. Yeah. Then one last step back, right? So Facebook pay you $500 if you find a bug in their system. They'll pay you.
That's too small now. Nonsense. $500 for finding a bug. You know what? I would come the time.
So it go higher than that, depending on the level of
okay, that's breach, like the minimum.
The minimum. It will go higher than that.
500. How can you pay? That's ridiculous with the kind of money they are making.
The highest around
They should go away with their 500.
They're giving some.
They should go away with their $500. That's ridiculous.
For $500
No. We're talking about a bug. Don't you get? You find a bug.
Well, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's a big deal. $500. Nonsense. Let's move on, Joe, and go pissed with that Facebook.
Okay, so we run this weekly giveaway activity for our loyal engagers and followers, right?
Yes.
On across all our platforms. So what we do is we post a Q&A, a question and answer based on the episode that you just finished. And all you have to do is answer it correctly.
Yes.
And we would then pick amongst the answer that, okay, this guy wins, right? Or this lady wins.
And make sure you engage us. Engage us. Follow up on our questions.
If you don't watch our episode, there's no way you can get these answers, right? So you have to go on YouTube or go on Spotify to listen in on our episode, right? And you could be the next winner of a movie ticket or something bigger, who knows, right? So, thank you.
Also, shout outs to Arno Luapo last week. He won a goodie bag.
Yes. He has gotten his prize. He has given us his thanks.
He's always engaging us. So I want to make a shout out to him. He's always engaging us.
Arno, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Taufik, thank you for your time. Kesta, thank you for your time. Ife, thank you for your time. If you guys are not tired, AFO is not tired. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.